All right, as you can see here, I cleaned up my kitchen so I don't have to be embarrassed. Didn't put that away. Okay, so I happen to have a wood counter work surface, which is really great for bread making, which is why I have it. But I start with, I put this on my food scale, I tare it, and I'm going to add 375 grams of water because I'm just making one loaf. So I just add 375 grams of water. Tap water is fine. This is hetchy, folks. It's good stuff. Also, you don't have to worry about, the chlorine is not going to affect the yeast. So I have 372 grams. Is it 375? No. Is it close enough? Yes. So I'm going to hit tare, and now I'm going to add salt. I'm going to add 13 grams of salt-ish. The best way to ruin a loaf, I'm going to say this a lot of times, there's a lot of best ways to ruin a loaf. Not enough salt. So 13 to 14 grams, good. And now I'm going to tare it. Now I'm going to take Doug. So now look, Doug is actually very overripe. So when Doug was perfect, Doug was up here. Doug fell down and produced this liquid on top. I can drain some of that liquid out or just dump it all in. Now here's the thing, I'm dumping all of the starter in here. Because again, I like to do things the easy way. I scrape the jar. Now this is microbiology here, you guys. There is enough bacteria and fungus left on this jar to recreate Doug without having to do all that refreshing stuff. So we're going to rejuvenate Doug. Okay, now Doug is going to get rejuvenated with 100 grams of water. And this you really don't have to measure, but I do. This is one of the few places where I actually am kind of a little particular. Now I'm going to tare again. And I'm going to measure out my flour. I need 375 grams of just all-purpose flour. It's not bread flour. We're talking like whatever all-purpose flour you got. In this particular case, it's whatever restaurant-style all-purpose flour came in a 25-pound bag from Smart & Final. And so I go through a lot of flour. So even before the hoarding thing, I bought flour in bulk. Okay, so I'm going to do 375 grams. Oh, sorry, I said 375. 450. Now here's something that as a trick, because I like to save time. I'm going to have to measure out 450 grams here, but then I'm also going to have to measure and give Doug 50 grams. So I could now take this off and measure 50 grams for Doug, but instead what I do is I measure 500 grams in here, and then I use a spoon and I steal 50 grams to give to Doug. All right, so now this is 450 grams. It was 500, now it's 450. So now I'm going to add 50 grams of whole wheat flour. Okay, but I'm actually going to do the same thing. So I'm going to bring this up. Instead of hang on, I need to think. So I needed to add 50 grams of flour. So instead of just bringing this up to 500, I brought it up to, I measured extra 50 grams. I'm going to put these extra 50 grams back into Doug. So now Doug has 50 grams. Yay, Doug. All right. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stir. Now, the reason why I like this scraper is because it's really firm, so it's good for stirring. This is kind of, it's watery, and it should be really wet. Okay, you can use your hands to do this. I have a thing about getting my hands messy. It's really funny, I'm filthy in so many ways of my life, but I don't like stickiness on my hands. I'm kind of one of those people. So I don't actually like doing this with my hands, but you can. So now I'm just mixing it, and how I've mixed it is now into a really sticky, wet ball. Okay? Doesn't look anything like an awesome ball. It looks way too wet to make a bread. Okay? And that's called perfect. Now, I need to cover this. This is my high-tech tool for covering. Instead of using plastic wrap, I just put a plate over it. Bam, I'm done. Now, I'm gonna mix Doug. Now, I'm gonna let Doug rise with my dough. Now, how I treat Doug is I leave Doug out, and Doug helps let me know how well my fermentation's going anyway. So Doug is a little bit of a reference for how the rest of my dough is gonna go. And then once I'm done and I put my dough, once I put this in the in the oven, I'll put Doug in the fridge. Okay, so now Doug, I'm gonna scrape down the side of the jar, all this nastiness. This is what makes for a really great loaf of sourdough. Okay, put this in the fridge. I put a cover on Doug so that flies can't get in it, but I want air to be able to get in it, and I want bacteria and fungus to be able to get in it. So I just leave it like this. I mean, look, bacteria and fungus already came in. This is why contamination is so easy. Okay, so I'm contaminating on purpose. All right, so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna leave this, it's around 10 o'clock. We're supposed to be doing math right now, but we're a little behind schedule. And then I'll bake it this afternoon. I wanna keep it ideally at probably around 75 degrees, which is gonna be hard because we've been not turning the heater on. So sometimes I'll put it in a little bit of a warmer place, like if I'm preheating the oven for something, I'll put it near the oven. Ideally, I would have made this last night and baked it this morning, but it's all gonna be fine. So that's how you do it.